let's talk like very shift left as you mentioned, first party code, right? So you have SAS. Do you feel that today in almost 2024, in modern high level languages, do you see a lot of coding kind of security mistakes that developers do, or because the languages are so already modern and it's harder, right? It's much harder to implement security errors in the code, or do you see still the same? So let's say in Python, I wouldn't see a lot of developers doing eval on a string, right? We're not there anymore. I'm wondering, are you still seeing that, or it's going less and less in terms of the quality, the quantity?
That's a good point. Also, I would say that we still have the problems because it's the same people doing the same things. So, for example, I used to be developer as C Sharp and .NET ecosystem, let's say, and .NET was abstracting a lot of things like XSS protection, I don't know, cookie stuff, authentication, authority. A lot of things are there on the framework. You just make use of it. But I saw a lot of developers, including myself in the past, like using the wrong encryption way or the encryption algorithm, so it was able to decrypt, or implementing the authorization with hard-coded session, for example, because it will be faster, or disabling by default the protection against cross-site scripting because I needed to test something localhost and I needed to change domains to do a request. And these things was being disabled from the default protection to the development purpose. That's normal, I would say. But still are going to production like this without double validation, without my knowledge sometimes that, okay, I shouldn't disable that. Actually, my development environment should be already adapted to the real production environment to make easier also for me to test the application itself and to keep the protection. A lot of things, languages are being, are evolving, avoid developers to do some specific problems, but still a lot of things are there that you can just disable them or not make use of them. And I would, as you said, you are not doing eval in Python anymore. Yeah, but then you have another, you still have a parameter that you will do something with that parameter, and how you validate that. If you don't implement the validation yourself or using a method on the framework to do that validation against whatever SQL injection, let's say, it will be still be there, that SQL injection. But I'm using ORM. But I'm using NoSQL. Doesn't matter. It will be there. Yeah. So I think this education point comes together again with this. Developers must have this education around AppSec, which is one challenge that I can bring deeper.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, also languages and frameworks are saving a lot of time and a lot of work, I would say, because they are implementing security by default or security measures, let's say there. Yeah?
Great. And yeah, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think have different kinds of vulnerability that are harder now to exploit. For example, if you are writing Rust code and trying to exploit a buffer overflow, will be extremely hard. Okay, but hard coded credentials is something that
Every day.
exactly you can write text files with that.
Yeah.
So the language does not matter in this case, in my opinion. Okay. Other thing that is, we are working for so many time with new developers with ORMs, for example, to manage database connections and queries. And when these guys that migrate from one language or one framework to another, because they are changing their jobs and the new company has another stack of technology, and now we are not dealing with database library here. We write queries in the raw format. This guy knows how to write secure queries in raw form because they learned how to work only exclusively with ORMs, for example. And for cross-site scripting, well, offshore, React, Angular, the most common frameworks worked good until the product owner asked for a text box that you can put format, bold, italic, and etc. And they simply do not know how to protect from these kind of things, and just make a unsafe render here because we need, but do not know inclusive what is unsafe means. So the short answer is depends, but a 10% depends on the language and some kind of vulnerability. But the most vulnerabilities, for example, I saw in last 2-3 years, bro, practically I don't see any kind of evolution in prevent insecure code.
Okay.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oi, gostou desse corte? Então te aconselho a seguir o perfil que tem muito mais conteúdo e também te convido a continuar o episódio completo na íntegra.